Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatam Maham Bande Paramananda Madhavam. All right. Great. Let's project the text. And so here we are. We stopped at number 41. 40 we read. Number 41 is waiting for us. Oh, we read it also, but I will start with 41. Om Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipashchitaha vedavadarataf partha nanyad astiti vadina. So vyavasayatmika buddhih ekeha korunandana bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. So of the ones who are undecided, and so to say, vyavasayatmika buddhih, the decided buddhi, eka, iha, one indeed, O Kurunandana, Bahushakha, and with many shakhas, with many branches, Hyanantascha, and infinitely continuing, moving, infinite in its kind of branching, Buddhayach, the thoughts of Yavasayinam, of those who are not decided. We know it very well. When we are not decided, we have so many options, and this and that may work, and something else may work, and combination may work. So this is for those who are not decided. The buddhi becomes of many different branches. But the one who is decided, the decided buddhi, is always only one. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipashchitach vedavada ratav partha nanyadastiti vadinach kamatmanach svargavara janmakarma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhoga ishvarya gatim prati. This is a little bit a difficult text to interpret, and Sri Aurobindo dedicates several pages to interpret this passage. Though that flowery or kind of rich speech, pushpitam vacham, which this pushpitam vacham pravadanti, they speak or declare avipashchita, who are not conscious. This flowery word which they declare who have not clear discernment, avipashchitah, devoted to the creed of the Veda, Veda Vada Ratach, who are happy in the word of the Veda, literally, whose creed is that there is nothing else, nanyad astiti vadinach, speaking that there is no other. Souls of desire, notice the word, kamatmanach, whose self is the desire, seekers of paradise, svargaparaha, janma karma phala pradam, kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gatim prati. So to say, it gives seekers of paradise, it gives the fruits of the works of birth. It is multivarious, or with specialities of rights. It is directed to enjoyment and lordship as its goal. It is all kind of translated as a separate sentence, but it is a part of the syntax here. Towards, in search of the gate or the path towards Bhoga and Aishvarya. Bhoga is the enjoyment, seeking the enjoyment, and Aishvarya, power, seeking the mastery and enjoyment, with many specialities and or vishesha, or many different varieties, qualities of the rituals. Kriya vishesha bahula. Pradam phalam, the one which gives the fruit of the birth and action. So you do this way, you will get this fruit of action. You do this way, you will be born in the better situation in the next life. This is the vision of the conventionalized Vedic knowledge, let us say in this way. So the Vedic knowledge came down to us through Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and finally Upanishads, which tried to revive the Vedic knowledge in their own way. As Sri Aurobindo says, that they rather introduced their own system than tried to interpret the Veda. But the Veda was lost in its knowledge long before the Brahmanas started to interpret it in the ritualistic terms and mythological terms. So what came down to us when Krishna was speaking about this was this conventional ritualistic culture void of spirit, you know, and trying to explain everything in terms of the Vedic ritualism. And we can see this kind of reformation took place not only through the Gita, but also through Buddhism, Jainism, and other attempts in India. Yeah? Because they faced that particular conventional Brahmanism, which was not really offering any understanding and became very ritualistic. So it is, in a way, a protest of some kind against that misleading light, as it were, which became like misleading dawns, he describes in Savitri. So there are misleading dawns which could lead us astray away from the path. So this pushpitam vacham, this flowery word with so many meanings, and they are seeking only the enjoyment and mastery and all the particularities of different rituals, giving them the fruit of karma, of better karma and better birth in the future. That's all about it. And we can see it nowadays in India. It is still there, that type of Brahmanism. Yeah? That's deep conventional belief that if you do it right, in a right procedure, you will get the right result. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam tayapahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhih samadhau navidhiyate. But of those whose consciousness is attached to the enjoyment bhoga and the mastery aishvaryam, here he translates cling to enjoyment and lordship. Tayapahrita apahrita chetasam. By that thought of many shakhas, branches, of those whose consciousness is taken away, as it were, intelligence of those who are misled by that flowery word. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, the decisive thought, the decisive concentration of the mind, samadhau, in the samadhi, navidhiyate, is not established, is not held. They can't do it because they have too many how to say, strings attached to different subjects and objects and desires and solutions they have to make and so on. So that's why in Yoga Sutras Patanjali speaks about pratyahara before dharana can be achieved. Yes? Pratyahara is to withdraw all those strings attached to different subjects and desires in the world and bring them back to oneself. And once we are freed from all those attachments, so to say, to different objects of sense and desires and fears and so on, then we can really start to concentrate. Dharana becomes possible. We can fix our consciousness upon one desired object or subject. And that leads us eventually to samadhi. First to dharana, then dhyana, then samadhi. But if we are attached to many objects of sense in the world and have many tasks to accomplish, then we are not capable of concentrating on the major topic. By the way, also Sri Aurobindo speaks about this in the basis of yoga. It's such a small book. The first paragraph is about this, that for those who have many things to experience and achieve in this life and do not exclusively concentrate on the major topic of achieving and realizing the divine, this integral yoga becomes impossible. We need that one-pointedness of our resolution. It must be some kind of aspiration with total resolution to achieve and realize that one subject. So all other attachments, all our other strings and considerations have to be cut off or brought back to ourselves. Pratyahara has to take place. It makes sense. Of course, we are not capable to do it because our life is much more complex, and we believe it's important to pay attention to many different subjects while we are moving forward. But if we would want to do it, we would have to do it this way, with absolute exclusive concentration on the divine. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nityasatvastho Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas, and Sri Aurobindo says all the Vedas, not the Vedas in a particular way, but all that conventional knowledge which came down through the ritualism, are attached to the action of the three gunas, is the subject matter of the Vedas. But do thou become free from the triple guna, or Arjuna, without the dualities, ever based in the true being, without getting or having possessed of the self, without getting or having. Niryoga Kshema. Let us dwell on these few terms because they are very specific to yogic language. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Vedas are of three gunas. The subject, Vishaya, of three gunas, Traigunya. Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Bhava, be, or Arjuna, Nistraigunya, beyond three gunas, beyond Prakriti, beyond her actions. Separate Purusha from Prakriti. That's what we were talking last time. Nirdvandvo, beyond dualities. Nitya Sattvasthah, constantly staying in Sattva. Niryoga Kshema, without getting anything out of it, without any objectives to get something out of it, without getting or having. This is the term which maybe needs dwelling, but we will maybe do it, I don't know. Atmavan, possessed of oneself. So once you are Atmavan, once you are not investing your energies into the environmental consciousness too much. That is yoga kshema. Yoga, that which is yoking to you, which is relating to you, to the relative matters, and kshema. Kshema is from root kshi, to dwell, that which surrounds you. Yeah. So this which is connected to you and surrounding you, you have to be free from that, from the surrounding and connections. And then you will be able to dive into Purusha, separate Purusha from Prakriti.
Excuse me, Vladimir.
Yes.
This is an invitation for the Great Void.
You may say so, yes. Because Great Void, or that Nirvana, is exactly that freedom. Or finding the Purusha. So to find the Purusha, to separate oneself from the thinking, feeling, and being in the body is quite a task. You have to be disinterested to a certain extent in this life, in a way. You have to find that strength or that energy to step back or rise above, as Sri Aurobindo says. Most probably even the crisis in life may help, that you would be disillusioned, that there would be some kind of vairagya, some kind of disgust of life, some kind of disappointment that life is so not fulfilling anymore. All these methods are helpful only for one reason, for us to find our unborn self, to separate Purusha from Prakriti. And for that, he just tells us what helps. That means not to be attached to the environmental relations. So if you are taking care of everything you have, your possessions of your house, you have to paint, you have to repair this and repair that, and your car and this and that. Why mother didn't want us to have many possessions in Auroville? She said you have to have a room, neat and clean, and you have to work for the community, even to cooking for the community, working. Why? Because it requires a lot of energy, of consciousness, to pay attention to all you possess. It will take you away from you finding yourself. It's a very practical thing. There's nothing wrong about it. If you can manage your possessions without being attached to them, it's wonderful. But it's very difficult to do it. You have to be near yoga kshema. Doesn't mean that you should not have possessions. It means you should not be attached to your possessions and relations. You may be a very rich person, but free from attachment. It should make sense, no? Otherwise, we are drawn to. So we live for the sake of our things. We are kind of we do not things are for us, but we are for our things. Because we are perfectionists, because we want everything to be in order, and people get totally crazy about things. I've seen this especially in the Western culture. It is very, very much holding everyone's consciousness. Yes, Bill.
I think I'm on point. I mean, if I could become permanently established in Purusha, I would just do it right now. I mean, I don't think I would need class anymore. Maybe I would have offer. Actually, I would need it. It would be great. But I need help, obviously. So did Arjuna. And, he looked at Krishna and said, well, wait a minute. This seems impossible. Even if I wanted to do it, I couldn't do it. And Krishna comes back saying, well, just do what you can. And no amount of effort is ever lost, right? I mean, so I always come back to say, no, I don't send maybe, I've got a 4-cylinder engine and I need a V10, to do this. And so I study, but there's the anugraha too. I'm always coming back to grace. And at some point in this, that if I show up and open myself to it, that there's a movement of grace that will in fact get me there in a way. So you might want to finish that sentence for me, Vladimir. I need help with it, I think.
Yes, well, you're just kind of concluding the whole, the whole Gita, where he says, leave all the dharmas, all the thoughts, all the ways of doing things, and come only to me. I will deliver you from all the pain, all the doubt. Yes, this is the solution. But there are many parts in us which need some kind of training or some kind of, they have to be learning the way. They have to let us go, as it were, that to lose the grip over, over our consciousness. And that's what we are trying to do. We have to learn what is holding us back. Why can't we do that simple movement forward? It is very simple to give oneself totally to grace, yes, and say, let it be what you want me. Let me be what you want me to be. Let me know what you want me to know. Let me do what you want me to do. It is so simple, and it is so difficult at the same time. So that's why we are learning. We are trying to see where is that part which is not allowing us to go, to give ourselves totally to the truth of our being. We can't give ourselves to our true being even. What to say about other things? Yes, I agree with you. Grace is all. To discover it and to trust it and to give oneself totally to it and to be content with whatever it gives, whatever it offers us. Are we content with it? It may give us a disastrous life or some kind of, something which we would not like to have. Something in our ego sense wants something else. And it's a big question, whether you are really ready to receive it and see it, to see the wisdom in it.
Vladimir?
Yes.
But it's more than just showing up and doing my best. It's larger than that, right? I mean, life comes
your best, yes, right.
Right, it's my best. That's still my best. That's still what I think should be done in a situation or how I think things should go. It's still my best. It's got to be greater than me, does it not?
Yes, it is not you anymore. Yes,
right.
Totally right. It is something which you recognize as truth of your higher being or higher self or that whom you love. Yes, totally love. But that has to come to some kind of awareness in us. Once we have that contact, that presence within us, we can't get rid of it afterwards. We are seeking it again and again. Nothing satisfies but its delight, as Sri Aurobindo says. Nothing satisfies but its delight. Only that delight can satisfy. Everything else looks dull and down to earth, and in all our satisfactions and all our joys and happiness looks like a painful process rather than really happiness. After that, it's like a painful, some kind of misunderstanding rather than really joyful life. The reversal of consciousness is taking place, as he will say at the end of this chapter. For those for whom there is a day, for the Muni who sees the truth, that is the night. And for him, when it is day, for them it is the night. They don't see in it the meaning. They are there looking for self-satisfaction of indriyas. They want to satisfy their senses, and the person who got that connection with grace is not looking for that anymore. He wants for grace more and more. He is ready to give everything, all his life to it, because it's fulfilling. It's not satisfying, it's fulfilling.
I think Micah or Robert wanted to say something. You both were unmuted.
Yes, please, Marta. Yeah, I didn't see. You just switch on microphone and speak, because I don't see the pictures of everyone. So,
Vladimir, I just wanted to, I think you probably answered my question, but I think offering is also, if we can offer the work we have in this sort of life, in this environment, in this society, if everything we do, I mean, we can limit it perhaps, but if it can be offered as part of the process of making us conscious of the one, or that higher unity which we're trying to achieve, I think that helps a lot to make the things that you do, you concentrate, making them an offering to that. So it takes us away from the desire level, and we are trying to identify with something larger than ourselves.
yeah, you're stepping already into karma yoga proper, yeah? Offering what we do. He's preparing the ground for that, what you're saying now. He's preparing all the ground. He wants to explain to him what is to happen, how he has to be, and then he will come to that. Whatever you do, you offer to me. Yeah? And that will be the solution for you. Because there you will not have that grip of the ego and trying to satisfy your senses anymore. There will be a higher ideal which will release you into the spiritual perception of yourself.
Vladimir? This is Lakshman.
Yes, Lakshman.
The mother in the ashram created the ideal environment. She had envisioned this when people said we don't have time to think about our inner aspiration, inner growth. We have to take care of our day-to-day responsibilities and that. So she created an ashram where all your daily needs and requirements are completely fulfilled. You didn't have to worry, spend a second of your time for that. All your basic necessities of life are taken care of.
Yeah.
Then the karma yoga, everybody worked, but everybody, so almost spontaneously, because of mother's physical presence, regardless of what you are doing, whatever work you are doing, it was an offering to the mother. As she said, the offering, body is prayer to the divine. So she created an environment and her physical presence that allows her to fight our inner Kurukshetras. Not Kurukshetra that I had to fight, but the environment was created. That doesn't mean that it provides the greatest opportunity, but as the previous speaker said, the offering has to be sincere, the aspiration has to be sincere. She can create the environment, she can encourage each one along his or her own path, but the environment was made idyllic. So you can duplicate that environment anyplace else, as he said, whatever you do, wherever you are, what does it as an offering to your inner divine.
Yeah.
Then that allows you to get a little more of your action or your work.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. I can see that if I may say about the ashram, that when she was there in the body, it was a marvelous creation. Everybody remembers only everything was miraculously possible. I remember we have Jyoti from ashram who was there, a child, and who grew up there, and she's in Auroville now, and she says that everything was taken care of by the mother. Everything. So there was no need in anything. There was sports, there was school, there was a beautiful life, there was excellent food, there was completely different relations, and money was not an issue at all and was not needed at all. They didn't even think in terms of money. And she said when she became like a teenager, somebody of her relatives gave her for her birthday 500 rupees. And she remembers that. She took that 500 rupees, she didn't know what to do with it, you know. And she gave it to somebody else. That was her reaction.
I had never handled money till I left the ashram, not a single day. And it was not just providing the environment. She was actually like our physical mother. She's the one we went to first for anything. You know, I had very enlarged tonsils, and there was the doctor suggesting tonsillectomy. I went to the mother, and she said, "No, you don't." And she showed me how to put salt on my tonsils. You know. And to open the mouth, and that's what I did for a few months, and the tonsils went away. So I'd say she was more than just a distant guru that you saw from the distance. She was very, very physically, intimately involved with all of us. Just sort of a unique setting, you know. You think of a guru, spiritual guru that you see from the distance, you know, you do darshan, you know, but it was not the case with the mother. She was herself very actively involved. She had 19, 20-hour days, intimately involved in all sports and all activities. She took care of all the departments, you know, which is amazing what she did. Was chief financial officer, CEO, everything you can name of us, you know, because it's a large community that you're looking after, you know. But she was involved in all the minutest details.
Yeah, but as Lakshman said, and Vladimir, you talked about this young lady, Jyoti. So I also, all those years, never wanted anything, never felt I didn't have anything, always happy. I can't even remember for years if I would ever had tears in my eyes, you know, just always very much inner peace, inner happiness, joy to be in that atmosphere of hers. And was looked after that. My sister came one time and I was wearing ashram clothes. She told me she's going to go back to Gujarat, going to see a dozen frocks and chappals and you name it, all that. So I held her hand, and I was only 14. I held her hand and I said, "Listen, please, Didi, don't do that. I'm very just the way I am." So we, you know, this is how it was during her time. And so it's very true that her presence probably made us that way, that we totally obeyed her to everything. Don't go outside and eat in restaurant. Don't go to movie theaters. Don't do this. We knew, she never said don't do, but we knew she doesn't want us to be with another atmosphere than what we were in. So we did that. But yeah, it would be nice to take account of people, children who have studied long after she was gone. And if they feel the same way as Lakshman and I do, you know, that is something that can be explored very easily, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing this. Really. Yeah, I was thinking always why mother wanted always, she wanted that everyone will tell her or ask her anything, you know, like whatever smallest solution you want to find, you come to me and talk to me. Why? Why she wanted this, I was always wondering. But then after some time I understood. She wanted to bring her presence into all the details of life. She wanted to be present. That consciousness had to be there. That grace had to enter. And that's why she wanted to communicate about this. Not because she had nothing better to do. She was so busy already with everything, and still she had time for those nitty-gritties of every disciple. All that, how to put salt on, and how to do this, how to. Everyone has the stories which are amazing in that way.
Also, it was for protection. Like if some people were, what I read was if some people were going somewhere and they informed the mother, then her kind of protection also goes along with them.
Right, a protection, absolutely, yes. protection, and they had to allow mother to be in all the relations in their life. That was the whole purpose of ashram, to bring the divine presence into all everyday life, thoughts, feelings, emotions, not to be intimidated by anything, opening everything to her, not to be afraid to open. Nobody was ever scolded by anything of what he opened, even if he had doubts. She always was helpful. I remember the Amal Kiran's confessions about the mother, because he was very naughty and he was coming always after 12 in the night. He liked to meet with someone there in the evening, and so the people were complaining that when he is coming, he's opening 12 o'clock in the night the gate, and they wake up. So they complained to the mother that Amal regularly coming late after 12 in the night, which is disturbing the peace of others. So he was so scared to go to the mother. What would she say? What would she ask? Why I do this, which is not good. So he went to her, and she silently gave him an extra key. She said, when you come, you open silently. And he was so taken by that love and care. So he didn't need to really do it again. He knew that she supports him anyhow. She puts her force into all that what he wants to be. Yes, this is the mother. Yeah.
Dolan mentioned protection. That protection works if you have no fear. And living with her, spontaneously we never thought of any worries that we're driving to Madras, we're going here. What will happen if we are in an accident? Those thoughts never came in, so that spontaneously had that protection, because we are not putting any barriers with fear for her grace to work.
Yeah, it was incredible when they built Matri Mandir, when she was, and they started to dig, and they needed steel, and that, the first years of Matri Mandir digging, mother's protection was there, and it was very easy to actually feel that. People felt it. Yes. And I remember somebody was mentioning that that even like this, that they give cash, the full bag of cash, to go to Chennai and to buy some steel. So the person takes the bag of cash, goes to Chennai, buys steel, and brings it back with lorry. It was like this it was a total trust in the movement, in the force. Nowadays, it's unimaginable that somebody would do like this, but that time it was very different. Anyhow, this is the Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Be beyond three gunas. See the action of nature from the point of view of the spirit. Be free from every attachment to the environmental consciousness and possessions.
Hey, Vladimir, not to disrupt you, but if I hope I'm saying your name right, Delaji, trying to say something on his cell phone.
Oh, please go ahead.
But I don't see how to get him sound. I don't know if you do when you're on a cell phone. The video's working, but I don't.
There is no sound here. Yes, unfortunately, because the sound is not activated. He doesn't have the microphone on. Maybe if he comes again, maybe it will come back.
Maybe come through the computer.
Leaves and goes and comes back. Then maybe.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. Just trying to help.
Okay, so if we continue with the same shlokas here, we will see. And you, in the meanwhile, please, reboot your system. Otherwise, you don't have microphone. We don't see it. You are not muted because there is no microphone even listed. That means You cannot be audible for us. Yavanarthe udapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. As much use as there is in a well with the water in a flood on every side, so much is there in all the Vedas for the Brahmin who has the knowledge. So the knowledge is something which is going beyond the text, beyond the ritualistic application. And this is something what Sri Aurobindo also confirms, saying that the truth, the divine, is much greater than all the scriptures of the past, present, or the future. None of these scriptures actually can capture the divine in full sense. It is going beyond all possible expressions. Yeah? So why to bother so much about the expression if you can go and become that consciousness? Yeah? So that is the statement. As much use as there is in a well with water, that expression, the well with water, in the moment when the flood is on every side, water is from every side, from above, from below, and from the right and left, everywhere. You are in the water. So much there is a meaning in the Vedas for the Brahmin who has the knowledge already. And now it comes this first time karma yogic statement. It is for the first time we meet this karma yoga introduction. Karman yevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhur ma te sangostva karmani yogasthah kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyoh samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Karmani, in the karman, adhikaraste. You have the right in the action. Maphaleshu kadachana, but not in the fruits of action. Have your establishment, have your, how to say, the translation is thou hast a right, but truly speaking, it's not even the right. It is like major point is not in the major point is the in action, not in the result of action. How to find better translation for adhikara? Adhikara
The
is
major focus, Vladimir, would the
major focus. Thank you. I'm looking for a right word. The major focus is in action, but not in its fruits. Fruits are less important. The action and the proper spirit in action is much more relevant, because there we can reveal the spirit. Ma karma phala hetur bhur. Don't be determined by the hetu, by the motive of the fruit of action. May the fruit of action, the result of action, be not your motive or your objectives. Mate sangah tu akarmani, and don't be attached to inaction. So don't make the result your objectives and don't be attached to inaction. And this is like a very thin line between the two. You should not be driven by the result of action, and you should not find yourself comfortable in non-action. Yes, Teresa. I can see. You can click on and speak, yes. Yes, please unmute yourself.
So I need that one more time. So action, and then but But also no action.
But no determination of the result. The result should not be your psychological drive. We do always for the result. I want to achieve this, so I do it. Yeah, I want to have order in my room, so I do it. So I'm constantly determined or driven by the result of action, by the desire to achieve something. That has to be removed, and the action is to stay. If we can do that, we can reveal the spirit. The spirit will be there behind every activity.
So to create a cause, but not be concerned with the effect of that cause.
Right, to be in action in the energy flow, but to not to be driven into this action by this psychological need of the result. Yes. Yes.
Do you work without any expectation for the fruit?
Absolutely. That's the word. Without the expectation for the fruit. How?
And don't attach the work for the fruit. Don't, your action should not be as an attachment to the fruit.
Right. No,
It's
you should not be
difficult.
driven by that energy, because once you're driven by that energy, what happens? You're becoming narrow. You become narrow. You don't see the opportunities. You don't see all the energies entering and acting through your activities. There can be new solutions found, new ways of doing things. You can't see them because you want the result. And that want of the result makes you narrow and makes you inefficient in a way. You are hurrying up. You are pretending to be interested. You are you are mimicking you are faking until you make it. Yeah? Fake it till you make it. That's what it is, actually, to be driven by the desire of the result. Yeah?
Isn't that, Vladimir, the word detachment, isn't that something that you try to practice towards everything, detachment?
Yes.
And that sort of resolves a lot of our inner conflict and inner, difficulties. And, when you develop the sense of true detachment,
Right. But detachment not to the action itself, but to the fruit of action.
Right.
Not to the activities. Activities are to continue. But the determination, psychological determination of the result has to loosen up, because that is what makes us do things, and that's why we are becoming narrow and have consequences. Our karmic consequences are built up by this.
Vladimir,
I think the way human beings are made, it's kind of a bit difficult psychologically, like without a motive force to initiate the action.
Absolutely.
So so a form is kind of needed for something. So the best way that's suggested is like initially make divine the object so that one can offer. So at least there is some force, because otherwise it is very difficult the way we are made to initiate an action if there is no end result. So making divine as that object and turning that desire towards the divine. So then that way the purification starts.
Absolutely. So this is about desire. It doesn't mean that you don't need the result of action. The activities are to be kind of planned and disciplined with accordance of. There has to be a procedure in time. There is the whole plan, the vision. Everything has to have its place. But you have to be free psychologically from that desire to be driven to the result. It's a very, very subtle thing. You know? It's not that you should not plan and have a vision of the outcome and so on, the objectives of the action. It is there. but it should not be driving you crazy. You
Question.
have to achieve it till tomorrow. Otherwise, this is the thing. Huh?
Question.
Yes.
So from my understanding, it's sounding like the difference for me between Rajasic and Sattvic, but you're not talking about that. Like Sattvic for me is the pure and inspirational, and Rajasic is I'm doing this because I know that it's going to produce a certain result. But you're not speaking of that distinction.
Oh, he speaks about this. He just said before, Nitya Sattvastha, constantly staying in Sattva. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. That is the thing.
That is what we're talking about. Cool.
Yes,
okay.
we are talking exactly that. Yes, right. Very good.
But it seems also that the message is not to be attached to the results, because you don't own the results. The results aren't yours. You don't possess the results, right? So it helps kind of free that mind that the ego is all about. You know, it's my award, my accomplishment, my this, my that. Right, so it's to get away from and break through that egocentric approach and realize that none of this is really yours. It's all the divine. So it seems like this is one of the first steps in that offering, which helps so much in that attitude.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, exactly that. My this, my that, my result, my work, my engagement, my responsibility. I am responsible for everything. I have to take charge of everything. Yeah, without me, everything will fall apart. Nothing will fall apart at all without you. Everything will go on as if nothing happened. But I'm so determined. I'm so in charge. Yes, Siegfried. Sorry.
Yeah, when it says be in the action is like be in the present and not in the projections. For me, it's like being present and not in your projections.
Yeah, it's a great way of talking about it. Yes, projections as those wishes, desires, expectations, fears, all that which actually constitutes the background of our activities. Yes, and how to switch off from that, step out of that, and see in the pure way the action and activity, and then everything becomes marvelous. And joyful engagement, fulfilling, because there then like children playing, in the on the playground, everything becomes exciting, interesting, full of joy, peace, and happiness, presence in the action.
I think this is what, if you look at Kim's chat, or Kim, if I don't know if you can open, but she's may want to look at her question, or Kim, if you want to.
Yeah, please, Kim, share with us. Yes.
Well, it was just similar to what Siegfried said. This is one of my favorite lines from the Gita, and something that brought me to this group when seeing the 4 presentations you did before bringing the study group together. And this line just reminded me of just being present, right? And not working to being somewhere in the future. It helps maintain presence.
Yeah, not in the future, not in the past, not even in the present. Because that present is also made like a tapestry of many, many, many things. It is like stepping back, so to say, into the higher presence or deeper presence, or allowing that to shine through, and allowing things to happen in the way you do not insist. And this is the first liberation from the determination, the psychological determination by the fruit of action. It's only first liberation on the path of liberations in action. The second will be as we will read later, the liberation from the modality of the choice of action. You may be kind of saying that you are free from whatever the result, you are following the truth of your being, but then you may want to do it in this way or that way, or this way you prefer because you know it better. It's easy, it's more mechanical for you, more unconscious because you did it 20 million times. And that way, that thing you don't want to do because it's unknown. It is something you are not comfortable with yet, and you don't want to be judged by others, and so on and so forth. There's so many nitty-gritties there which are holding you back from being free. And that is the second liberation from the modality. You can choose any new modality of exploring the flow of energy in a new fashion, in a new profession. We are not allowing ourselves to do it because we are determined by market, we are constantly selling ourselves. But imagine that you don't need to do it. You could try things out. You can become suddenly something you never dared to be, musician, I do not know, some kind of painter, artist, dancer, start dancing some kind of tango, I do not know, whatever you never dared because of judgments of others, because of your determination, because of your profession, because of your engagement, your niche in the society which you occupy already and gives you life, so you are free. So this is the second freedom which we are looking forward. We will see it later coming. Yeah? But the first is this objectives to get things done and you are in charge. Yeah? And it is not, it's only psychological freedom. That's what we have to understand. It's not the outer free. Outwardly, the work will remain the same. And it needs the objectives. It needs the plan. It needs the collaboration with others, but inwardly you have to be free from it, and then new energies can flow in.
Vladimir, does this go with I keep thinking in passive voice, because I build a house.
Nice.
The house is built by me, and so is that? I mean, is that kind of where this goes? There's the humble expression: the house is built by me, by him, by the community, by whatever, instead of the community built the house, I built the house, I did this. And so there's a difference. Is that the same language that this is speaking?
Absolutely. So Elia, he's a student of Sanskrit, so the passive voice, which is preferable in Sanskrit language, is to say the house is built, and then by who? By me, by you, by them, doesn't matter by who. But the main thing is that the house is built, or the book is read, or the food is eaten. By whom doesn't matter. It's secondary. So that preference for being free from the result, so that not I built the house, I cooked and ate the food. So that is the active voice. It's kind of interesting, kind of spiritual view on Sanskrit. You're anticipating our new group. We will be discussing how Sanskrit manages this spiritual approach to life. Great. And there is one more verse on which I will stop. This would be the last for today. Yogasthah kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyok samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogasthah, staying in yoga, kuru karmani, do the works. Do the works staying in yoga. Sangam tyaktva, having left all attachment. Whatever the attachment there may be, leave it behind. Don't follow it. Don't follow predeterminations. Siddhi asiddhyoh samo bhutva, having become equal in success and failure. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Because yoga is called equality. It doesn't matter that it leads you to failure. It should not matter for you. Now you know what we are talking about. It was very nice to speak about until we see this. Failure? It should not matter. Here we are. We are so predetermined by the objectives, by the result, that we can't accept failure as something which we could easily fall into. Much to think, to be equal in failure and success. And that is important because failure can be actually a step towards greater success and greater success. We just don't see it yet. In that moment of time, we think that is the end of the world, but that is just the beginning, the opening of a new solution, of a truer solution. Great.
Often failures or rejections, looking back at it, become blessed disguise.
Yes, and we know it. We've been through that too many times not to accept this. That the failure sometimes actually sharpens the whole perception, brings greater force within us. That's why the anti-divine forces are permitted, because they are actually activating in us something which is true in us, truer, greater force of truth and consciousness. Great, we can stop here for today and continue next time from 49. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarve bhavantu
Bhavan.
sukhinah, sarve santo niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste.